Hello everyone! The long-awaited Camellia has just been leaked, and now we finally know what her kit does. And I'm gonna be honest, this might be one of the most unique kits in Wuthering Waves I've ever seen, utilizing a lot of mechanics that have not been utilized before. So it's clear to me that Kuro Games wants Camellia to sell well, and I believe she is going to, as she is very powerful. So let's get into her kit. First of all, let's describe her role. Camellia is a Havoc Sword main DPS character who focuses on doing a lot of basic attack damage. Yep, I said it in my speculation video and I was right. Camellia focuses on basic attacks, and I think that is good, because now we have a limited 5-star DPS for every damage type. But let's get into the kit itself, shall we? First of all, her basic attacks. They are mainly regular, except on the basic attack. Once you do your third stage, you can hold the basic attack to do an even stronger attack, after which your fourth basic attack will automatically be triggered. This in and of itself is not a very strong effect, but since it also applies in her enhanced mode, this is going to be used. Speaking of which, let's talk about her resonance skill. Camellia's skill is going to do havoc damage and put her into a special state. In this state, Camellia is unable to move, and her normal attacks are replaced with a different kind of normal attack. And just like with regular normal attacks, after you do her third basic, you're able to hold it, and then you cast a special attack, after which your next normal attack will automatically be cast. This special attack, yet again, does stronger damage than your regular basic attacks, so you are going to want to use it. Your dodge counter is also replaced by a different dodge counter, which I assume is to make sure Camellia doesn't actually move. And I'm going to go in later why I think that is really damning to her performance. In this state, her skill is also replaced by another skill called Dark Core Hunting Heart. And this is going to do a lot of damage and is going to count as basic attack damage. But when you cast it, you will lose your enhanced state. So I would personally not use this until the end of your rotation if I were you. Your jump is also replaced by a basic attack Whirling Dance, which means you also cannot jump to get your way out of your current position. So if you use your skill in a bad spot, that's on you. Then for her Forte circuit, because this is going to be quite a long one. When using basic attacks, lunging attacks, just anything that counts as a basic attack, you'll consume your Forte. And what this will do is you will get 150% extra resonance energy. Essentially, you'll regain more than double energy. And for every 10 points of Forte you consume, you'll restore 4 Concerto energy, and gain 1 layer of an additional Forte bar, which lasts 15 seconds and can be stacked up to 10 times. So, this essentially means Camellia is able to regenerate a lot of extra Concerto energy and just regular energy while doing this. But obviously, if it were that easy, then we wouldn't be looking at Wuthering Waves, now would we? Because once she is at 100 Concerto energy, her skill gets enhanced again, and it will consume 70 Concerto energy. This means that the only reason she generates faster Concerto energy is so she can just do this attack and then keep going with her rotation. After casting this special skill, you will enhance your basic attacks even more, and it is going to be a multiplier increase, which is the rawest form of a damage increase in the game. However, because you do need to build up to this point, Camellia has a little bit of backload. But let's be honest here, JINHSI might be the most goddamn backloaded character in the entire game, and she's fine. So that is not really a bad thing if you ask me. But how do you even get the Forte stacks to get the extra Concerto energy and Resonance energy? Well, it's simple. It's your intro skill and just your Resonance skills. So you're just gonna get it by playing her automatically. Then for her Resonance Liberation, it's just going to be a big hit of damage. Nothing impressive here, but you do want to get it because the Concerto energy is essentially required, to be honest. Now for her inherent skills. Her first inherent skill just gives her 15% havoc damage, and then her second inherent skill just gives her 15% basic damage and interruption resistance during her basic attacks. This is very important because well, as we've discussed plenty of times, she is in a wheelchair and cannot move. Then her intro and outro skills are just more damage. I don't know what you're expecting from her at this point. So, yeah, when we're talking about a skill priority, we definitely want to level up her resonance skill first, as this is where her basic attack scaling is in. Then we want to level up her Forte circuit for its ridiculous nuke, because, oh right, I didn't say, the enhanced skill is a nuke. And then we're going to level up her resonance liberation, because, well, it's just more damage. And that's essentially where we stop. Now, let's look at Camellia's issues, because she does have at least one very big one, which is, like I said, wheelchair. She cannot move. And in a game like Wuthering Waves, where bosses are going all over the place, that is concerning. Camellia really needs to attack the enemy from a range, because if her attacks are not ranged, she is going to have a serious problem against a lot of bosses. And I'm not just saying this because I'm skipping Camellia. This is a genuine concern. Some of the best characters in the game are this good because they have very good movement. And I'm gonna be honest, Camellia being physically unable to move is something I'm pretty concerned by. But by the fact that Camellia is such a hyped up character, I think she's going to be fine. Kuro Games does not want her to fail, so she's not going to. It's that simple. Now it's time to look at Camellia's investment options, aka her weapon and her sequences. So first, let's look at her weapon. It's going to be a 587 base attack with crit rate substat. On its passive, you get 12% attack, and for every time you do normal attack damage, you are going to gain 12% normal attack damage, stacking up to 5 times, so up to 60%. This is above average for a 5-star weapon, as they usually tend to be 12% damage bonus, and then another 48% damage bonus. But this is 60% damage bonus, as well as 12% attack, so it is better than most. And now let's look at Camellia's sequences. First of all, her sequence 1. After casting your intro or outro skill, you're going to get an additional 50 Forte stacks, which means you're able to just regenerate more Concerto energy, which translates to being able to go into your enhanced state earlier. And then when you do normal attack damage, your critical damage increases by 6% up to 5 times, so it's just 30% crit damage. This is an incredibly solid S1. Then for the S2, the damage multiplier of her enhanced skill is increased by 120%, and whenever you crit, your damage is going to count as basic attack damage and will be buffed by the Resonance Forte's enhancement when it comes to the damage multiplier. This is a very unique S2. Your big nuke just becomes even bigger, and now your ult is able to get buffed by your Forte circuit as well, and as well as, for example, something like Sanhua's outro skill. This is one of the most unique sequences, and it's also a very good one. The S3 is going to increase the damage multiplier of her Resonance Liberation by 50%, and during her enhanced state, the one from her Forte circuit, her attack is increased by 58%. This is yet again a very strong sequence by Wuthering Waves' standards, and despite it just being more stats, it's a lot of stats. S4, as usual, is going to be a more supportive sequence, because after casting your intro skill, the basic attack damage of your entire team is increased by 25%. This isn't as good, obviously, but it's still a good sequence to get. S5 is going to increase the multiplier of your Resonance Liberation even more, and it's also going to buff the multiplier of her outro skill, which has a pretty good multiplier, so that's not a bad increase. And then her sequence 6 is quite a mouthful, so I'm going to try and make it, a bit easier to understand. Essentially, while you are in the enhanced state, again the one from her Forte circuit, her damage multipliers are going to be increased by another 150%, which, kind of ridiculous, but that's not even it. That's not even the end of the S6, because she gains an additional skill that she's able to use once her Concerto energy is maxed again. We don't know the multiplier on this attack, but we do know that it's going to refresh your budding state, and that means Camellia is able to just be on field even longer. I predict this is going to be the strongest S6 in the entire game, even beating out JINHSI. Now, I think Camellia is going to be a strong character. She definitely has the damage to be strong, and I think she's going to be our second tier 0 DPS next to JINHSI. But the fact that she is unable to move is such an obvious flaw that we cannot ignore. But is her damage going to make up for it? I think it is. Is she going to be better than JINHSI in general? I don't know. It depends on how her animations are handled, if she's able to attack from a range, and how fast she's able to restore her Concerto energy. But she definitely has potential to be incredibly strong. And I think that if you want to pull for Camellia, you definitely should. She's very good. But that's going to be it from me. Peace.